All righty. Let's make sure we are live. Hey, if we're live, you hear us good, drop a 1 in the chat right now. Drop a 1 in the chat right now. We are going to be having a fantastic conversation with two fantastic people today. So drop a 1 in the chat. Make sure, let me know you could hear me well. Let me know everything is working good. We don't always stream on this channel, so I'm just making sure everything is good over here. We're on the Bless God Studios channel. Hey, Zach, can you get this up on Patreon, please? Zach! Okay, you don't hear me. Hey, Chris, it is on Patreon. Okay, cool. You're going to get it right now. Okay, cool. Okay, we got a bunch of ones in the house. But guys, make sure you smash that like button if you could. Zach, if you can get the poll up to make sure they hit the like button. And we are here. We're having this conversation. Long story short, I did a video a while ago where I wasn't the most polite in the way I reference folks who believe that the earth is flat. And Bryce Mitchell, aka Thug Nasty, reached out to me and told me so and said, hey man, that we weren't very gentle and nice, you know, not the most gracious way to address something that I want to say a pretty big percentage and a growing percentage of people hold to, which is the earth is flat. And so Bryce challenged me to a debate. One of my rules is I don't really like to debate Christians. I try to not dabble in those things, right? That's why you see me on like the Whatever podcast or debating someone like Rollo Tomasi. So I thought, hey, I don't really want to debate this, but I do think it's a needed conversation. I do think it's an interesting conversation. And my buddy JP stepped up and said, hey, I'll be willing to take it on. He also agreed that these conversations don't happen enough, that Christians don't do a good job debating or engaging people from the flat earth community. And that is how we are here today. So here is the format for the debate. We are going to have 5 to 10 minute openings from each of our participants, okay? The openings aren't going to be responding to the claims made by the other party. This is just the opening, the introduction, okay? There'll be a clock on the screen. Then we are going to go into a 30-minute cross-examination, all right? 15 minutes each. So each side will get 15 minutes to do a cross-examination. Then we'll have a 30-minute open discussion, 5 minutes of closing, and a 30-minute Q&A. All right, and maybe we'll go a little longer on the Q&A. That will be your guys' opportunity to ask questions and send super chats. If you send a super chat before that, just know we will not get to it until that allotted time. All right, so without any further ado, I'm going to bring in our guests today. We have a UFC aficionado, an incredible athlete, and who is holding to the position of the flat earth, Mr. Bryce Mitchell, a.k.a. Thug Nasty. And we have my man, YouTuber extraordinaire, debater, JP Uncut. All right, so welcome them to the stream, ladies and gentlemen. All right, and let's jump into it. So Bryce offered to let JP pick who goes first, and so JP said, since it's first debate, Bryce can go first. Let me get this clock on the screen. And if you're enjoying this so far, make sure you smash that like button, drop a 1 in the chat, and we are now going to start the clock. Bryce is going to lay out to us in 10 minutes or less why he believes the earth is flat. And Bryce, you're good to go? Let me know when I can start the clock.
Yes, sir. We can start it. And I want to say thank you so much, Ruslan, for having me on. Thank you so much, JP. If I didn't respect you guys and I didn't love you guys, then this debate would mean nothing to me, and I wouldn't even do it because I don't waste my time talking to people that don't respect me and love me. And guys, I just can't tell you how thankful I am to be here, how appreciative I am that you're giving me this platform, and I'm happy.
All right.
So first thing I've got to do is just talk about what's really going on. Okay, they're lying intentionally. Now, the reason that they're lying is because they don't want people to come to Christ. It's that simple. It's simplified. Okay, but basically, flat Earth, spherical Earth, spinning Earth. Okay, evolution and Big Bang, they all go hand in hand. Okay, so through these tools, Satan is convincing people there's not a God. Well, I'm here to tell you the Big Bang is incorrect. I can prove that. We didn't come from monkeys. I can prove that. and the earth is flat and has a firmament, just like the Bible says, and I can prove that. So I can prove mainstream science is pushing this in all of our kids' schools, okay? And I can prove all three of these things wrong, and they're teaching these lies. So you got to be understanding of what's going on. They're lying intentionally to get people to not understand that you can look up and see heaven, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead and get into some scripture now. I've categorized these, and there's probably infinite categories, but here's the categories that I made. The firmament / heavens, the earth being immovable and the shape of it being described, the genealogies, which indicate the actual course of history from Adam, claiming that we didn't come from millions and millions and millions of years of cavemen turning into people or whatever, okay? The genealogies disprove that. So if you believe the genealogies, it's hard to believe the other one. Okay, impossible, I would say. And then the sun and the moon and the stars. And basically, it's every time that they're described, it would contradict the NASA prerogative. Okay, so I'm going to start with the firmament. This is Genesis 1:6 through 8. And God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters. Let it divide the waters from the waters." Okay, so right there in Genesis, bam, we have the creation of a firmament. Now, I can go on and on about what the firmament probably is. I don't really know, but I know in Job 37:18 through 21, it describes it being kind of like molten glass. It says, "Hast thou with him spread out the sky, which is strong and as a molten looking glass?" Okay, this is describing the firmament. Now, basically, if you ever seen a rainbow, you ever wonder why a rainbow has its shape? When you shine a light into a flat prism and the light reflects, it always reflects straight because the prism is flat. You ever seen that cover of the Pink Floyd album? With the prism and the light hits it, the straight rainbow comes out. Okay, happens every time. How is that rainbow curved every time? What I'm telling you is that there's a firmament in the shape of a rainbow. And that's how the rainbow gets its shape. These are proofs. These are facts, and I'm telling you them. And you don't have to believe them. But I'm telling you what I'm saying is in conjunction with Scripture, and it's proven that NASA is not only wrong, they're deliberately wrong. They're malicious. They're satanic. Okay? NASA. Add a T, you get the word Satan. When they're launching their rockets, they say T minus. Cross minus, T minus. If you add a T to NASA, you get the word Satan. NASA in Hebrew, it means to deceive. Okay? They're saying that the earth is tilted at a 66.6 degree angle. Guys, they're putting Freemasonry symbolism right in your face, and people really don't understand it. So here's my question is, if the world is expanding and constantly spinning, how is the world tilted at a 66 degree axis? Wouldn't it be changing, spinning every day? You see what I'm saying? So they're deliberately injecting satanic numerology into this government organization called NASA. They're lying because they don't want you to believe the Bible. The Bible does not say that the earth is spinning. It says that it is firm and immovable. So let's get into some more scripture now regarding the shape of the earth and how it moves. 1 Chronicles 16:30. All the earth, the world also, shall be stable, that it may not be moved. Psalm 104:5. Who laid the foundations of the earth, that it should not be removed forever? Psalm 96:10. The world also shall be established, that it shall not move. Psalm 93:1. The world also is established, that it cannot be moved. Now, that also is comparing it to God in the verse before. God also, like the earth, shall not be moved. I believe the world in the sense that the Bible describes it. I do not believe what NASA tells me, and I know that they are satanic. I don't think they're satanic. I know they are. which if you know about Project Paperclip and how all the Nazis came over here after World War II, and Wernher von Braun was the president of NASA, and on his tombstone is Psalm 19:1, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Now, that was the president of NASA, a Nazi from Germany. And this dude died and put it on his tombstone about how the firmament showeth the handiwork of God, because they were masters of propaganda in Nazi Germany. He knew what he was trying to do. They were trying to get a generation of people that didn't believe in God and trusted in science. And guess what? The science is all lied about. Okay. Isaiah 40:22. It is he that sitteth upon the circle of the earth, not a sphere. You think these people knew the difference in a circle and a sphere? I'm telling you right now that the earth is in the shape of a flat earth pilot's map. When a pilot goes to train and navigate around the world, they use a flat earth map. They call it a pilot's map. Flat earthers call it a flat earth map. And if you want to navigate internationally flying, you're going to use a flat earth map. And you can thank a flat earther, okay, for getting you where you need to be safely, because that's what pilots use, a flat earth map. Now, notice that that map is in the shape of a circle if you're sitting in heaven above, okay? Now, Isaiah 40:22, he sitteth upon the circle of the earth, okay? Now, we're getting a definition of something in the shape of a circle. Let's check out this verse here. Job 26:10. He hath compassed the waters with bounds. I looked up the word compass because I'm not smart enough to tell you what that means. I looked up, what does it mean? He compassed the waters with bounds. What does that mean? Okay, compassed equals go around in a circular course. So the waters are going around in a circular course with bounds. I'm telling you, that's exactly what flat earthers believe. That water is bound up in a circle by the ice wall. There's a North Pole, there's not a South Pole. That's why we can't go to Antarctica. We can't prove it wrong. They don't want people knowing that the Bible is correct. And then another thing with here we're regarding the sun, the moon, and the stars, okay? Right off the bat in Genesis here, we got Genesis 1:16. And God made two great lights, comma, he made the stars also. Okay? We're talking about it saying word for word, God made the sun and the moon and the stars. So these people back then knew that these are three separate entities. They have three separate words and three separate functions: sun, the moon, and the stars. And NASA is trying to tell us that all stars are the same thing as the sun, and that the sun is a star. Well, I'm here to tell you that the sun is not a star. It is the same size as the moon. It's in the firmament, just like the Bible says. And it's a counterpart of the moon. It's an exact counterpart of the moon. Stars are wandering, planets are wandering stars, but stars are lights. They're resonating, reverberating frequencies. And as far as we know, when you zoom in on them with the telescope, they're just lights that resonate in weird shapes. And we don't really know what they are, but they're certainly not the same thing as the sun. And I'll tell you, this is pretty easy if you look with your naked eye. If you look at a star, it goes twinkle, twinkle. If you look at the sun, it don't. It never will. It's not a star. The sun and the moon are their own thing, and stars are their own thing. Also, we're talking about heavens, okay? Every single description of heaven, God is looking down from heaven. He's not, it won't say in the scripture God is sitting in heaven looking up, looking left, looking right. God is in heaven and he looks down. And I'm telling you, we're below him. And if you look up, that's the heavens. Okay? And if the earth was spinning and rotating around the sun, and then the whole universe and the whole galaxy was expanding, up and down would change every 12 hours. So what I'm telling you is that if you go by the Bible, you'll see that they're lying deliberately because they don't want people to come back to the Bible.
All right. Bryce, that's your time. Thank you so much. Hey, chat, if you are just tuning in, that was Bryce's opening statement. That was 10 minutes long. Okay, so I don't want, if you're just tuning in, I don't want you guys to miss it. Some of you guys are like, why are you doing this debate? Just rewind it to the very beginning. That way we can understand why this is happening. And so, Bryce, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm going to reset the time and get going. JP, are you ready to go?
Yes, sir.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to start the time. 10 minutes for JP's opening statement. Here we go.
All right, so fellas, I have the flu. So just call me Michael Jordan. You heard? Because we're going to perform. We're going to drop 55 real quick. But bear with me because I am a little sick. All right, so fellas, this flat earth stuff is one of the biggest delusions we've seen in old time history. Let me tell you why. Bryce believes, and he said in other videos, I'm not going to be responding to his opening statement at all, but Bryce believes that we must know the flat earth position in order to better understand the Bible. This is not me responding to his opening statement, but let me get very clear because I wrote this in my notes in case anybody thinks I'm cheating. The Bible says in Colossians chapter 3, verse 2, it says, set your mind on the things above, not on the things of the earth. So we follow that principle. The whole idea that flat earth is something we must learn in order to better understand the Bible is false. In addition to that, we know that the Bible says that the carnal man will never understand what the scriptures are telling us. You need a touch of the Holy Spirit to truly understand. Where does it say that we must understand the size of the planet or how the planet looks at all? Now, there are a couple of passages that people that believe in flat earth use. For example, earth doesn't mean earth in all of the scriptures. And ends of the earth doesn't mean that it's a spot where you cannot inhabit. In the flat earth position, they believe that the outer area is all ice. So they say that that's the far distant ends of the earth, and they'll take scriptures out of context to say that this supports flat earth. Deuteronomy says this, the Lord will bring a nation against you from far away from the ends of the earth. Deuteronomy 28 says, and the Lord will scatter you among all peoples from one end of the earth to the other. But wait a minute. The flat earth position says that there is nobody in the ends of the earth. That's what the flat earth position says. The Bible says there are people there. And we know historically that that's the Babylonians. They were in the ends of the earth. So let's continue reading. It's interesting that he mentions the book of Psalm to support his flat earth. Now, I'm not talking about his opening statement, but in other videos he's done this. Psalm 19 verses 5 and 6 says that the sun is rising from the end of the heavens. That the sun is rising. In the flat earth map, that's impossible. How could the sun rise on a flat earth map or on a flat earth shaped anything? That doesn't exist. It's just not logical. Earth doesn't always mean earth. For example, Genesis 11, dry land was called earth. Does this mean that wet land is not earth? So a lot of the passages that these guys are going to use, earth doesn't even mean earth. So let's carry on. Another example of this is in Genesis 11, verses 1, where we have the text that is set. The text says, the whole earth had one language. Wait a minute. The planet itself talks? No, it doesn't. It's talking about the people. So this is an example here, and we're going to continue going. I'm glad that he mentioned the light source of the moon. I'm glad that he mentioned it because we're going to tie that together, and that was in my presentation. So let's get that. The moon is not its own light source. Mark chapter 13, verse 24, we're going to break this down. But in those days after the tribulation, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light. Matthew 24, verse 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light. Notice something. When the sun is darkened, the moon will not give light, because the moon is not its own light source. The authors in Genesis chapter 1 were simply saying there were two great lights, because when the sun is out in the day and the sun sets or what have you, or goes away, whatever you want to say, and the moon comes, it's a reflection. So therefore you can say it's its light, but it's not its own light source. Pillars. Let's go to pillars. 1 Samuel chapter 2, Job chapter 26, verse 10, Psalm 75. All of these verses that talk about pillars have its context. For example, in Psalm 75, when it talks about pillars, the context of pillars is leaders. Leaders are pillars. If we continue to read in Job chapter 38, verses 4, we see that he mentioned the division and the divide and things of that sort, which I was going to cover anyways. But if we look at the waters and we look at the divides and we look at all of these things and we look at the firmaments and we take this literally, there's a problem. If you read all of Job 38, it finishes by saying that there's bars and doors in the ocean that cause the divide. Now, do we literally believe that there are bars and doors? I don't believe Aquaman is true. I mean, I get it. It's a good movie. But I don't believe Aquaman has doors down there. Let's carry on. I don't even think that Aquaman is real. The earth is my footstool. Isaiah chapter 66, verse 1, the Lord says, heaven is my throne and the earth is my footstool. What is the house that you would build for me? And what is the place of my rest? Well, my thing is this. If heaven is his throne and the earth is his footstool, my question is heaven shaped like a literal throne? So we see all through these passages, when we read them in context, they don't support flat earth. In fact, there's not one single biblical passage that supports flat earth. Not a single one. As I mentioned earlier, the sun rising, that wouldn't make sense in a flat earth world. As I mentioned before, the moon isn't its own light source because the New Testament makes that very, very clear. You can say, oh, Genesis says it's its own light source. No. Look at the order of operations. The sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light. Matthew 24, one more time. The sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light. If you can find me one biblical passage where the moon loses its light, and then the sun is darkened, you have an argument. But unfortunately, this proves that the moon is not its own light source. Because if the moon loses its light, it's because the sun was darkened first. So that's game over right there. That shuts it down. Again with the pillars, because I still have 2 minutes, so we're gonna homer this home real quick. Again with the pillars, there's nothing that suggests that there are actual real pillars holding the earth. If you believe that, you might as well believe Superman's the one holding these pillars. There's nothing in the text that suggests that these pillars are real. Each of them have its context. And one more time, if there truly are footstools out here and things of that sort that this guy or flat earthers in general talk about, my question is this: is heaven shaped like a throne? That's what I really want to know. Because if I die and I go to heaven and I go to a heaven-shaped throne, how far are we going to go with this stuff? These claims here, and it's a good thing I don't believe in evolution either. Because I do not believe that if you believe in a round earth, that you believe in evolution as a result. And last but not least, the circle, that God stands before the circle of the world, we're going to leave that for Q&A. So I'm not going to use all of my time because I got a home run for that one. So that's 49 seconds there. I broke down every single biblical passage that flat earthers would use. I'd say this is a home run.
All right. We got JP here. All right. So we are going to go to our 15-minute cross-examination round in just a moment. But first, guys, if you're here live, be sure to smash that like button. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this conversation. I want to say big props to...
Am I lagging? People said that I was lagging.
You aren't lagging on my end. And let me see. Let me make sure the speed is good. My speed is good. Nope, I think you're good. Everything is good on my end. Okay, so So we're going to go to our cross-examination round in a second. But first, I got to use the restroom real quick. Okay, does anybody else need to use the bathroom?
No.
Nah, I guess
Okay, give me 1 second. I'm going to play a little commercial break and use the restroom. We'll come right back. All right? Hang tight.
Sometimes people struggle with quiet time because you're like, I don't know what to do. Yeah, so I got this Bless God prayer journal. So look, they got a section. I got praise reports, things I'm grateful for, prayers for other people, personal prayers, memory verse, I will get this done today. Then my time in the Word showed me, and notes just for free thinking. This thing's mad helpful. Just writing down things that you're grateful for, just doing that consistently. That's another really good way to fight depression and anxiety, because it's I don't know if it's impossible, but it's really difficult to experience the feelings of depression and everything and truly be, genuinely grateful for something and dwelling on something that you're grateful for. This actually is really helpful for that as well.
Wanna come around and do the most, flexing for the gram.
You see this day, they watch sunsets, no doubt. On a display in their hand, it stays out like a wrist chain. But this one is for clout. You got this stain, well, this chain gang's no slouch. I said dopamine, I need them to notice me every moment, just like Jodeci. Open me up, see the spark is emotionally draining and engaging at the same time. Being so manipulated by the AI, algorithms at play, so I stay high. They always listen in, but the true play is to make me my own God in a new way.
Ruslan.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We are about to go to our 15-minute cross-examination. Would either of you gentlemen like to do your cross-examination of the other first? Does anyone have a preference?
It's up to
Go ahead.
His is fresh on my memory, so I'd like to go just to.
Okay, so you are going to cross-examine JP. Okay, so let me just get this clock up. Give me 1 second. I think I got to add a new one. Give me 1 second. Uh-oh. Hold up. Oh, there we go. Duration. Nope. Hey, guys, appreciate everybody being here live again. Make sure you guys smash that like button. All right. Give me 1 sec. Okay. Tell me when you're ready, Bryce.
I'm ready, brother.
Okay, here we go. So Bryce is now going to cross-examine JP, and then for 15 minutes, and then JP will have 15 minutes.
I don't like
cross.
Bryce. I don't like Bryce at all.
Here we go.
Come on, brother.
15 minutes. Here we go.
So
Go ahead, Bryce.
now I want to get into some specific details here. I can use geometry, science, and common sense, and I can start giving y'all exact specific details. And I also have to address JP's claims because they were good, and I want to address them. And so the first thing he's talking about that I remember is the ends of the earth. People comes from the ends of the earth in Deuteronomy, and armies will come from the ends of the earth. I don't really think that is referring to any type of flat earth description by God saying an army will come from the ends of the earth. I'm not using that scripture specifically. So we won't even debate that one. Okay. I understand that ends of the earth, that's just him explaining it in a way using some type of metaphor or whatever. So then there's a claim too, that the moon is not its own light source. And of course I know that it is. And so basically your argument is that because there's a verse in the Bible that says that God is going to make the sun go dim and the moon is going to go dim, that means that the sun powers the moon. And that would be just like me right here. I've got two lamps in my house, one on my left, one on my right. If a light bulb blew out on my lamp over here on the right, and then 10 seconds later, this light bulb on my left blew up, by that logic, I'd say, well, those light bulbs were running on the same fuse, and they were linked together, and that one powered that one. So when that one went out, that one had to go out. When really, in reality, just both of them happened to go out. So that verse is not being exclusive. It does not say that the moon is not a source of its own light. It just indicates that there's going to be a time in history where the sun goes dim and so does the moon. And so I'll leave it at that. I thought that was a little bit weak, brother. I really did. That was a weak verse, and I don't really need to dissect it any more than that, okay? The Bible was not saying that the moon is not a light source, and I believe that it is. And there's tests you can do to put to test that the moon gives off cold light, and a lot of people do it on YouTube, and they claim that it does. I've never done the test, but I just know that the moon is its own light source. It has 13 cycles. We should have 13 months in a year. It's basically there to keep months. The moon is, and that's what the Bible says. It says it right in Genesis. I got it wrote down over here. It says they gave us the sun, the stars, and the moon for seasons, days, years, stuff like that. Okay. So now let's get into some specific examples of how exactly I'm right with geometry. So what I've done here is draw a picture of the sunlight as we see it. Hopefully y'all can see this beautiful picture I drew here.
I'm gonna remove myself from here so we could see your picture better, Bryce. So give me one sec.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can you put it up a little bit closer? There we go. Okay, kind of see it now.
And so we all know that this is what the sunlight looks like when it's shining down from the sky. Okay, we all know. And what I've done is I've only drawn a quadrant of it. Okay, I've done 90 degrees here. Obviously, in real life, the sunlight goes in all angles. Okay, I did this in 90 degrees so you could see the angles that I'm talking about very easily. So when you have an object that emits almost 180 degrees of light onto an object below it that's flat, you know that the size of that object that's emitting the light is smaller than the object that the light is hitting. This geometry proves that I'm right and that the sun is small and that it's very close. And it's actually the same size as the moon, and they're the same distance from the earth, and they rotate around the earth. I'm not heliocentric. Heliocentrism is a lie. It's satanic. And JP, here's the thing. I'm not saying that it's important to know that the earth is flat because you're going to go to hell. It's to do with your salvation. That's not what I'm saying. You can have salvation in God whether or not you believe the earth is flat or even care. But what I'm telling you is you're going to be missing out on the true creation. You're not going to know the full story. Not that we'll ever know the full story. Not that we'll ever understand everything. But when you understand that the earth is flat, you have a little bit stronger of a connection with God. You can see his handiwork. But here's the thing, JP, is that these belief systems all align with each other. The spinning earth, evolution, and Big Bang. And if we don't prove all three of these wrong, JP, people are going to hell.
Are you going to ask me any questions?
Yes, I have a question. It involves a helicopter. Second off, here's my first question. Were you ever an atheist?
I don't believe so.
Okay, and that's why I have the extreme advantage on this topic. I know how the atheist mind works. I hated God for more than half my life until I called upon Jesus Christ. And you don't understand it like I understand it, JP. You never will. You're never going to hate God the extent that I did because I was lied to. I was told we come from monkeys and that Christianity was just killing people throughout history. And they lied about our history. They lied about us coming from monkeys. They lied about the Big Bang. And then they lied about the earth spinning 1,000 miles an hour at the equator. Okay, they did that so that we don't actually know God's true handiwork. Okay, so if you don't understand an atheist mind, you're not going to understand why this topic is important. And I'm telling you right now, people are going to burn in hell because they don't know what's going on with the shape of the earth, how it got here, or the size of it. Now, are you two going to burn in hell? Am I going to burn in hell? No. Okay, we're already saved, so it doesn't matter what you think about the shape of the earth. Your salvation is guaranteed by Jesus Christ. But there's other people that the only way they're going to even consider Jesus Christ a realistic option is if you provide mathematical and scientific evidence that the Bible is correct. They have no faith. Okay? And that's what I'm here to do, is to reach those people and tell you not only can you call upon Jesus Christ and see him in your life, cast out demons like I did. I watched a demon be cast out in the name of Jesus Christ. Not everybody might not get that chance, but I'm telling you, through other means that are not supernatural, you can actually use math and geometry to prove the Bible correct, and NASA is satanic and liars. Okay? For example, Gus Grisham, okay, he spoke out against NASA. They burned him up alive in the cockpit. Okay? You got to understand the history of NASA. You go against this stuff, they're going to kill you guys. 7 astronauts died in a car wreck in like 1 or 2 years back in the late 60s when they were doing the moon landing. What's the odds that 7 astronauts or somewhat die in a dang car wreck? Okay, they're killing these people that talk out against them. I'm telling you, this is evil. Okay? Now back to these angles. If the sun was bigger than the earth, the angles would look like this. The sunlight would look like this. Okay? As far left and right as you see, the sun would come straight down because the diameter and the circumference of the sun would be bigger than the earth. But I'm telling you, when you see this, you can rest assured that this object up top emitting the light is smaller than the object below, because you can see 179.999 degrees of the light hitting it. Okay, and then here's my question for you, JP, about the helicopter. So if you believe that the equator spins at 1,000 miles an hour, you have to if you believe NASA, okay? Maybe give or take a few, but basically 1,000 miles an hour at the equator. That would be the peak at which the Earth spins the fastest, the equator, not the poles. So if the Earth spins 1,000 miles an hour at the equator, and I can take a helicopter at the equator, and I can hover for 4 hours at 20,000 feet, I can move 0 miles an hour. I cannot go left, right, north or south, doesn't matter. I'm not moving at all. I'm just hovering for 4 hours, 20,000 feet. I can come back down and land in the same spot every time.
That's your question?
How does a helicopter travel 0 miles per hour, but be elevated at 20,000 feet while the Earth spins below it 1,000 miles an hour, and that helicopter come back down at the same spot?
Well, I would have to.
I know that your answer initially might be inertia, but what you got to realize is that if inertia was carrying the helicopter, it doesn't matter. The helicopter would have to increase its speed because it's now traveling a further distance to rotate in a circle, because that's how distance works in geometry. As in, if me and you race, JP, and we race a 400-meter race, and I run on the inside and you run on the outside, I don't care if you're faster than me or not, I'm going to beat you because you have to run twice as far. You're on the outside lap. And so there's no way that a helicopter could go up 20,000 feet with the Earth spinning 1,000 miles an hour, which is faster than a helicopter can even travel, and then it come back down at the same location. Guys, it's impossible. You just got to realize what's going on.
Bryce, did you want JP to answer that question?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I came here to answer questions about is flat Earth in the Bible, but you know what? Since you want to ask me this question, I'll ask. I would have to say that there's an element of gravity involved. Perhaps objects are moving as the Earth moves in a particular rate. So, I mean, there's theories, but I mean, I came here to answer questions about the Bible.
Yeah. Well, but you're agreeing that the helicopter would have to cover more distance because of the increase in elevation, and that now to land at the same spot in the equator, it would have to cover more distance and travel faster than the rotation of the Earth, which is already traveling 1,000 miles an hour.
Yeah, I mean, my answer, I would say because of gravity, the way things are moving, they're perhaps moving in a similar rate. So because
you know what year gravity was invented?
Wasn't it Isaac Newton?
Yeah, you know what year?
That came with his theories, correct?
Yeah,
you know Isaac
year?
Newton was a Christian, right? So we can't say he was a Satanist. Do you believe Isaac Newton?
Only God the Father knows if Isaac Newton made it into the case. Only God the Father knows. Nobody knows.
You thought Isaac Newton was a Satanist?
When the book of life is presented by Jesus in the end times, he does not even know whose name is in the book of life. Nobody knows who goes to heaven and hell. Only God the Father knows.
Do you think Isaac Newton wasn't saved? All right, you know what? You're the one answered.
I don't think Isaac Newton was saved. And I know that gravity was discovered in the year 1666. This is satanic symbolism. An apple fell on his head. I wonder what the symbol for sin is. I wonder what the symbol for the fall of man is. Might be an apple.
Come
Might be
on,
Freemasonry symbolism.
Bryce, work with
Guys,
me
you
here.
gotta
Bryce, work with
understand
me. The
what the
fruit in
enemy is doing.
the fruit in the garden wasn't even an apple. That's just Christian propaganda.
Well,
Work
I
with
didn't
me.
know all about that, but it said, I don't know. I thought it said
No,
that
yeah, it's
God,
not
I'm
actually
sorry,
an
I thought it
apple.
said
It's
that you
just
ate
it's
the
just a
apple.
fruit.
I thought
It's
I
just
read that part.
no. It's not an apple. It's just a fruit. That's Christian propaganda pushed by people like Ruslan. Ruslan pushes that it's an apple. Mhm.
Bro,
This
you
is
about to
what
get
Okay.
you
two
should be
on
worried
one,
about
man.
right here.
So Isaac Newton discovered gravity in the 1600s, and it is satanic because it is connected to an apple. Am I tracking correctly, Bryce?
There are
Because the apple fell, and that's how they found 1666.
666. The Earth sits on a 66.6 degrees tilt. You know, the Earth rotates the sun at 666,000 miles an hour. Guys, the symbolism is just hilarious when you can sit back from my viewpoint and
Oh,
see it for what it is. They're putting 666 in your face at every turn. You know that the symbol for NASA is the tongue of a serpent. If you type in NASA on Google, the first image that pulls up is a red serpent's tongue. And they
hold
put
on.
demonic stuff right in your face, and people can't realize it. But I'm telling you, I've done my research, and I
So
know what's
Bryce,
going on.
Bryce, you are correct that they discovered gravity in 1666, which is interesting. But the Earth's tilt is 23.5 degrees.
What's
So
23? What is 23.4? Now, mine is 23.4 from 90, 66.6.
oh, so you got to okay,
Now,
got you. All right,
now,
so you just got
now,
to wait from 90.
you got to do the math.
Got to
You
do a
got to
little
take
math.
it.
Got you.
You got to do the math. You got to take it from a 90 and then minus it. Now, here's what's funny to me about this, Ruslan, and you just said it yourself. The Earth tilts at a 66.6 degrees. Now, you could say it's 23.4, but I'm going to say it's 66.6 because I'm measuring from the invert, okay? Now, but we're agreeing that there's a tilt. Now, here's what I got to ask you guys. If the Earth is spinning every day, 1,000 miles an hour, and it's rotating the sun at 666,000 miles an hour, and then the universe is expanding at you can't even imagine how fast the universe is expanding. But if all that stuff is happening at once, how are you comparing the tilt of the Earth? What are you comparing it to? Everything is moving. You can't actually make a measurement and get 66.6 because everything is moving every second. There's nothing to compare anything to. What I'm telling y'all is that the Earth don't move. Okay, everything moves around the Earth. Okay, that's why the pyramids, for thousands of years, ever since we've discovered the pyramids, they are exactly lined up with Orion's belt. I believe that is. There's 3 of them.
It's my turn now.
Now, if everything was moving and expanding, how are the pyramids still lined up with the stars, JP?
Okay. So, Bryce, that was your 15-minute cross-examination, and now we are going to go to JP's. I gave him a little bit more because I chimed in there on the degrees of the Earth, so I gave him a few extra seconds. So we're going to start JP's clock. JP, let me know when you're ready.
All right. So we're gonna get with the airplanes, right? We're gonna start with the airplanes, and I'm sure you heard of this real quick. So let me give you the exact location, the exact coordinates. South America and Australia. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ruslan. South America and Australia.
Mm-hmm.
On a flat Earth map, you can go directly straight, but it appears that when you look at the route, planes actually go unnecessarily around. So they do an odd left, like just going left unnecessarily, right? So it doesn't make any sense on a flat Earth map when airplanes pretty much, when they have a direct straight route, they decide to go left, and make their trips longer. You see, it makes sense in our map because in our map, the planes are going straight. And the reason that you don't see a dip is because when the plane is going straight, it's going up in the air like that. So it balances out. So can you explain to me why airplanes are taking unnecessary routes on flat Earth maps?
Yes, so the North Pole and South Pole are no-fly zones because if you flew there, it'd be very obvious that the Earth was flat. They don't want people going to the North Pole and to the South Pole and flying
Okay,
around there and finding this stuff out.
can you demonstrate what, because there are people there. I can show you pictures of people that've gone there and have been tourists. So my thing is this:
The South
we have
Pole?
satellites and we have all kinds of technologies where we can see those areas. So my thing is, where can you prove to me that those are no fly zones because they would prove that the earth is flat?
Well, there's some type of NATO treaty that you can't go to Antarctica. But it's interesting because NATO's symbol is a flat Earth map. If you type in NATO, a flat Earth map will come up, and
Bryce,
it's
there
divided
is
into.
no treaty. Bryce, there is no treaty that says you can't go there. The treaty doesn't exist. I looked it up beforehand. That's flat earth propaganda. The treaty doesn't exist. If anybody
I,
wanted to go there, they could go there. They could go there.
I firmly believe that it is completely illegal to go to Antarctica, and if you do go, you'll probably have your bank account seized. You'll probably be arrested. You'll probably be detained and put in
You
prison.
could
And that's
believe that. You could believe that, but it doesn't make it true. The
well,
treaty
one
doesn't
of us is
exist.
right. One of
Yeah,
us
the
is
treaty
right.
doesn't
One of us
exist.
is wrong. Then,
But all right,
but
all right. So I hear your explanation. You say that it's because there's some conspiracy where the government doesn't want you to fly over and there's treaties.
Antarctica. Yeah,
Okay.
Antarctica
I
specifically,
utterly
and I also think that on a flat Earth map, any type of flight can be made. There's still a longitude and a latitude. If you want to know what the flat Earth map looks like, type in pilot map or type in UN. Type in NATO because their symbol is the flat Earth map. Okay, so
Okay, so how
the
about
flat Earth
this? So
map
how
is
about
very
this? You
easy.
got me. You win. I lose. I lose. See you I lose. Now let's get a little closer. How come on the flat earth map from New York to the UK, which is not over the South and North Pole, the flights appear to be going on a curve as well when they can go straight?
Yeah, they don't want you flying up there in the North Pole. It's actually a mystery of what's going on up there in the North Pole.
So
I don't,
anytime that there's a curve, it's because there's a mystery, because there's a conspiracy.
brother. What I'm telling you is, I promise you on. Well, I'm not going to do that. Actually, I'm not going to promise on anybody's life. That's stupid. But I'm just going to promise you that you're never going to fly over the North Pole. You're never going to fly over the South Pole, JP. They're always going to find some excuse to where you can't. The South Pole is actually illegal, and you're not going to
Where
fly
are
to the
you
North
getting this
Pole.
information that it's illegal to fly over the South Pole? The treaty that you mentioned doesn't exist. But you know what? Let's move on from there. The if you're gonna go with those conspiracies, that's fine. You believe most things are Satanist. I get it. All right, let's push forward. Do you take the Bible literal?
Yes,
All
but
of the
there
Bible's
is.
literal.
Yes, but there is definitely exaggerations and other things. Like when you said heaven is the throne, I don't know that heaven is in the shape of a throne. And I understand what you're saying and that it could be misleading, that I'm using something that could be a metaphor as a literal expression. And I agree that it's very healthy to question everything that I'm saying and that I also could be wrong. But when it says in Job that he had spread out the sky, which is strong and as a molten glass, and then I observed the firmament and a rainbow, and you see through the firmament, you see the proof of it, which is the rainbow, and it appears to be like molten glass. I think that's being
Wait,
literal.
hold on. So you don't take it all literal.
I do take it literal.
Okay, do you believe God sleeps?
I don't think that he does. No, not
Okay,
like
well
we do.
David told God that he wants him to wake up from his sleep.
Well, that doesn't, just because David wants to say that doesn't mean that God's asleep. Like if I said, "Hey, JP, wake up, you're sleeping." Well,
Very good, precisely. So if God says that there's particular let's see pillars, that doesn't mean that there are actually pillars. See, you agree with me. Just because the Bible
I
gives
want to say this,
particular
JP.
examples.
I want to say this. I think if you dig far enough, you can probably get to hell. I believe that. I believe that. I don't believe that if you dig far enough, you get to China. I know you believe you'll get to China. I believe if you dig in the ground far enough down, you hit hell. And I think it's a literal pit below us. That's what I
Okay, so
think.
let me ask you a question. Then. Do you believe that flesh can inhabit hell? Inhabit hell?
It's for souls.
Okay, then. So then how could I potentially get to hell if I'm flesh and bones?
That's a good question. And maybe you can't dig into it. I just honestly, that's what I honestly think. I honestly think if you dig far enough, you'll get to hell. I don't
We'll
think you'll
get to
get to
the
China.
we'll get to the Earth's core. We would get to the Earth's core, but that doesn't necessarily mean
There's
that.
no proof that the earth has a core, brother. All this stuff is a bunch of lies and propaganda.
Well, then how come? Why is it that when we put devices down there, it gets hotter as you go down towards the
My
middle?
explanation is I think it's hell down there. I think it's
But
literal.
it can't. You know,
Like a
hell's a
fire.
spiritual place, Bryce. Hell's a spiritual place, so it can't be hell, right? You can't
It's
detect
confusing,
hell
man.
with a device because hell is spiritual. You do understand that, right?
Man, I don't know that, but I do believe that heaven is above us, just as the scripture says. But I've got another bunch of stuff here. So,
All right, all right. Hold on. It's my time to ask the question.
oh,
So
I'm
you
sorry.
don't.
That's right. That's
Okay,
right.
no, it's fine. So you don't know the answer to how is it that we can measure what you believe is hell with physical devices when hell is actually spiritual. So we'll let you do your homework on that one, and you can come back and hit me up anytime. My second question would be this. This is going to be my second question. Do you believe that the oceans have bars and doors?
No, I think that was some type of metaphor.
Okay, then, but this is the exact passage people use to say that there's a firmament, that there's a foundation. So why do we take that part of the passage as literal? But then when we say that there's bars and doors, we don't take that literal.
Because there literally is a sky stretched out like molten glass, and you can literally see that the firmament is there. You can see the proof of the firmament. Now, here's the thing: is do you even believe in a firmament?
Well, when we get to the parts where you could ask me questions, we'll get there.
Okay.
So you choose that the part in the top is literal, but you don't choose the bottom and where it says that there's bars and doors. I see it;
Yes,
it goes all
that is
together.
correct.
So
That is
I
correct.
just don't read the Bible like that. I don't read the Bible. It goes, literal, literal, not literal, 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 not literal. You understand? Because if
Right.
you admitted before we had this cross examination that you take all of the Bible as literal, and there may be exceptions to where you might not take it literal. So my thing
Yeah.
is this: you're picking and choosing when you take something literal because it helps push your flat earth stuff. So I just literally do not see that here. So I'm going to continue. You said that my light source argument was weak. Okay, so let's go there now. Mark chapter 13 verse 24. I have one argument that I want you to handle for me.
Yes.
Can you show me one Bible verse anywhere in the Bible, where the moon goes out first and the sun goes out? Because scientifically, we can prove that the sun supports the moon
Well,
with light.
it says that the moon will turn red, and then the sun. It doesn't say anything about the sun changing. So if the sun stays the same and the moon's going to turn
Well, we
red,
can read it. We
it
can
kind
read
of
it. Mark
indicates
chapter
that the moon
13,
has
verse
its own light.
Well, we can read it. Mark chapter 13, verse 24. But in those days after that, the tribulation, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light. Matthew
That's
24,
great,
29.
and
Immediately after the
I
tribulation of those days, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light. So we see
and I
that. Let me
I
finish.
understand exactly.
Yeah,
Sorry.
but we see that the sun gets dark, and the moon will not give light. So it's very basic logic, right? If there's no sun, there's no moon giving light. And we know that God made us. The Bible is not a scientific book. It's not. You may try to make it a scientific book, but it's not. Genesis chapter 1 doesn't necessarily prove that the moon is its own light source. God can say something and then reveal it over time on how he wants to display that message. We know the gospel was revealed over time. So there are things that can be revealed over time, just like the gospels and things of that sort. So maybe God said it that way in Genesis chapter 1, but in the New Testament it's quite clear. So my challenge to you is, can you support one biblical passage where the moon goes out first and as a result the sun then goes out? If you can find me that, I'll become a flat earther right now. But you can't find me that because it's illogical. Because if the moon goes out, irrelevant. The moon can't do anything. The sun is the one that supports the light. In your example earlier where you said, oh, yeah, if I'm at a house and the switch goes off or what have you, that doesn't really work because my argument is the sun supports the moon. So if there were a supposed light switch that the moon had, that wouldn't work because the sun is the one that supports it all. Hence why Mark and Matthew say that when the sun goes out, then the moon goes out, not the other way around. So can you show me something that supports that?
Yes, the best verse that I have would be one that just comes to mind, and it's talking about the end times, and it says that the moon is going to turn red. It doesn't say anything about the sun changing its color. It doesn't say anything about the sun. It just says that the moon is going to turn red.
Bryce, respectfully, Bryce, this is not talking about red at all. This is talking in Mark chapter 13 and 24. I'm going to read it. This is KJV now, right? Because there's a lot of KJV onlyists out there, right? I don't know if Ruslan's a KJV onlyist. I don't know. But
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, but the KJV onlyist is making it very clear. The sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light. It doesn't say the moon will turn red or anything like that. I don't deny that there are passages that say that the moon will turn red. I don't deny that. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you believe that the moon is made out of plasma?
Dude, it might be made out of cheese for all I know. But I don't know. I don't know. It makes no sense to me.
So let me ask you this. God is a God of order. If you take a telescope, you can look at all the other planets with a telescope or a horoscope, whatever you call those things, or binoculars. And each of those planets will be round. Why is every other planet round, but the Earth is flat?
Well, the Earth is round too. It's in the shape of a circle. It's just
no, but why is it like a pancake while all the other ones are like basketballs?
Well, they appear to be lights. Like if you actually go and look at a star for yourself, go to David Shane True Cosmology.
Wait. You think the moon is a star? Or
no,
a planet?
It's not. It's just a luminary. I don't know what it is, but
all right.
anyway.
Let me ask you. Okay, so let me address this for you. The circle of the Earth. That's your argument. You said that. How does that support flat Earth? The circle of the Earth.
Because
the God stands in front of the circle of the Earth. How does that prove? How does that prove?
The ice wall is in the shape of a circle. So, like a pilot's map, if you're going to be flying around the Earth internationally, you're going to have a map in the shape of a circle.
Let me respond to you. Would it be illogical to say that the world's a sphere? And because God is up there looking down, that's why it's flat. For example, if I have a basketball, this is an experiment you can do at home. If I have a basketball and I put the basketball down and I get very, very high up, that sphere, that basketball can't look like a circle from up. So what if God were just trying to say that he's so high up that what he's pretty much revealing is that it's a circle to him? Would that be illogical?
No, that's
illogical.
Not illogical.
Okay, so what I'm saying is that verse.
You possibly could be right, but I still believe that I'm correct, and a circle is the exact shape of the ice wall, and that's what he's talking about. But you could be right.
Thank you for your honesty in this discussion.
Okay, so we are going to go to our 30-minute open discussion, and then we're going to have 5 minutes of closing.
So basically you'd ask us questions, you'd pretty much navigate the conversation, you lead it, and then after that Q&A.
Got you. Okay. So let me get this on the screen. Okay. So question for both of you guys. Alex Jones was on Joe Rogan, and he made the claim that he can't wait until Elon and whoever's working on space travel, because he wants to put a bunch of flat earthers on a spacecraft and take them out to space to prove to them that the Earth is round. This is what Alex Jones said. And my question to you guys is, if you were to be put on a spaceship at the expense of Alex Jones, and you went out to space and you saw that the Earth was clearly round, specifically for you, Bryce, would you then concede that the Earth is round?
Hold on. Do you believe we even went to space, Bryce?
No. That's
Well, I mean,
No,
if
you can't go to space. You can't get past the firmament.
all right, thank you. Ask Ruslan's question. It's fine. Go ahead.
okay.
And
So if Alex Jones was to fund this desire to get a bunch of flat earthers on a spaceship, get you past the firmament, and at whatever range you could absolutely unequivocally see hundreds of thousands of feet in the sky, and unequivocally you will see that the Earth is round. You will see everything that NASA has been showing is a completely accurate. And if you could do that, would you then concede that the Earth is round?
Of course, if I saw the Earth in the shape of a sphere, I would say it's a sphere. But what I'm telling you is that's never going to happen. The highest anything ever goes, 120, 130,000 feet. Okay, that's where a balloon with helium is going to float up to. When you go up to 120, 130,000 feet, okay, what happens is that the Earth is flat in a 360-degree rotation. And you can do that with your own camera, and you can verify exactly what I'm saying. There's a lot of YouTube videos, people doing it. Now,
I've seen the videos. I think most people who've seen the videos of the Earth balloon going up see a pretty clear curvature of the Earth at 120,000 feet from their own.
On a flat lens. On a fisheye lens, you might see curvature because that's the lens itself is curved. On a flat lens, the Earth is always flat up to 130,000 feet, and that's a fact because you can just look it up and do the research. Now,
you're saying because they're using a GoPro and a GoPro has a fisheye lens. Okay, what about when you're flying? They say you could see the curvature past 35,000 feet. You could start seeing the curvature of the Earth, and a pilot is flying and sees the curvature.
Even Neil deGrasse Tyson, he's just an actor, he's satanic too. But anyways, Neil deGrasse Tyson will tell you at 30,000 feet you can't see curvature. So
I said 35,000 to 40,000.
Yeah, that's commercial, and that's where commercial flights go, 30,000 feet. And even at 30,000 feet, the best physicist in the world, Neil deGrasse Tyson, he's saying at 35,000 feet, there's no way to see curvature. He says it himself. Okay,
I gotta look
yeah,
this quote up.
Pull it up, brother. Pull up Neil. Pull up Neil talking. He's a liar. He's fraudulent. And here's why this is important, guys. And I love you guys so much. This is why these conversations are important, because we can determine who we can and who we cannot trust. And I'm telling you right now, Elon Musk, he's the Antichrist wannabe. He wishes he was the Antichrist. He's not. He'll never be that great. The Antichrist is going to be somebody like Elon Musk who lies to everybody, deceives, steals money, cheats on taxes. He's completely fraudulent.
Well, Ruslan looks that up. What's not satanic?
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's not, but there's a lot of stuff that is, brother. But I'm just telling you right now.
What sources can we trust? What sources can we trust?
Elon Musk is a straight up filthy scoundrel.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. But what sources can we trust? What sources? Is there anything we can trust?
I'll trust you more than I trust
Elon Musk. What sources can we trust? Because if you're going to tell me that
yourself as a source, yourself,
are all the flat earthers that you hold on? Are all the flat earthers that you get your information from Christian?
No, but can I further this
I
question?
got you, buddy.
Because but here's what I want to elaborate on, JP.
Well, why aren't they satanic?
Let me elaborate. All flat earthers that I know believe in God. Can you let that sink in? When you understand the earth is flat,
wait. Hold on, Bryce, you're killing me. Smalls, you're killing me. You are kind of tall, but you are killing me. So you're telling me that all the flat earthers that you watch, although not Christian, believe in God, correct?
All flat earthers believe in God.
Okay, what God?
That's the problem. They don't all believe in Jesus. But just
what if their God is Satan, Bryce?
Well, yeah, they've been tricked by Satan and believing there's no God. Okay, so then
maybe you've been tricked by this flat earth stuff, bro.
No, brother.
Maybe this is all a big deception, Bryce. You're killing me. Come on, Bryce, work with me.
No,
work
brother.
with me, Bryce.
What
work
I'm saying
with
is,
me.
when you understand that the earth is flat, you're going to start believing in God. And then shortly after that, we can get these people to Jesus Christ.
Okay, wait a minute. Bryce. What if you're a person that denies that the earth is flat? And then you say that because the Bible doesn't teach flat earth is why I became a Christian. What would you say about them? Would you say they got deceived into Christianity?
No, I would say Acts 2:21. If they've called upon the name of the Lord, they shall be saved. Flat earth has nothing to do with salvation, but here's the thing.
But bro, you're pretty much equating flat earth. You're pretty much equating flat earth with salvation. I mean, you literally said all flat earthers, but bro, you said all flat earthers believe in God. Then I said, what if that God is
not Jesus? Jesus leads to salvation.
Okay, so then can you come to the conclusion that perhaps there's somebody that believes in a false God, because out of your own admission, that's giving you false information?
I mean, it's possible that I'm wrong, yeah. But hey,
okay, so what I'm saying is that you can't say that all of our sources are satanic. I can say all of your sources are satanic as well, because the vast majority probably don't believe in Jesus.
Guys, what I'm telling you is Elon Musk is satanic. I don't believe
I don't care about Elon Musk. Elon Musk
is satanic, guys. And if you believe he's putting people in rockets and going to space, I'm telling you, it's all CGI. He always launches his rockets by the coast because he's going to dump those rockets into the ocean. They go up and then they curve and then they drop into the ocean. They hide the evidence. Okay.
Yeah, but Elon it seems Musk, like you're hung up on you're hung up on Mr. Elon Musk. Let's forget Elon Musk for a while.
He's putting chips in people's brains, guys.
Yeah, bro,
okay,
that's
this is
I don't agree
the Antichrist. I think the Antichrist is going to put chips in people's heads and chips in people's palms. And I think people like Elon Musk are paving the road of deception for these sheep. If you would let Elon Musk put you in a rocket and fly you or put a chip in your brain, you're totally fooled. This guy is a swindler. He's of Satan. And I'm telling you right now, he's not to be trusted.
We have 666 concurrent viewers right now. What does that mean to you? Now we're at 669. I mean, listen. I mean, I don't even know what. I mean, I don't even know what to tell you. Everything's satanic with you, bro. Even the very people you get your information from. I mean, what is
Elon Musk? He's of the devil. Elon Musk is of the devil. I'll swear my life on that. He ain't good. Now, he might come to Christ and admit that he's lying, but right now he's a fraudster. He's a liar. He's a manipulator, a swindler, and a deceiver. And I see the truth.
All right. Ruslan, where you want to head into?
Yeah, I'm curious, Bryce, a flight can be booked. This is probably, I think, the most reasonable answer for this. You can book a flight from Santiago, Chile to Australia. It'll take a 14-hour flight, direct flight from South America to Australia. This flight is impossible in that amount of time on a flat Earth map because it would take way longer than that on a flat Earth map. How do you explain that? How do you explain the flight going from South America to Australia, direct flight, 14 hours? I'm looking at it right now, nonstop flight. 14 hours versus if you're using the flat Earth map, you know, the United Nations map that you guys always talk about, it would take substantially longer on that map, right? If the world is flat, it doesn't work. I could bring up a flat Earth model if you guys want, but that it would be impossible. So how do you explain
the planes are satanic, Ruslan? The planes are satanic.
Well, basically, brother, you know, I've got a flat Earth map pulled up. I'm looking at South America, and then you said from South America to Australia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could put up a flat Earth map if you want.
Yeah.
Is there a specific one I should look up that like I'm just googling flat Earth?
Pull it up right here. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, any of them will do, and you know we'll see how far this flight is. We'll do some calculations, and you know I'm not good at math, but we'll see.
Here, let me see if I can pull it up here. All right, so that what in the world? Oh man. Okay, so
So we
there's a
see
flat.
South America there, and Australia is 180 degrees across,
Yes,
all the way
on
across.
completely on the opposite side, right? Which this flight, there's no way on this map that this flight takes only 14 hours. It's a direct flight. So
Well,
how do you?
it might be potential that they're a little bit closer together instead of 180 degrees apart. Maybe they're 90 degrees apart, or something slightly closer. I I do not know exactly how you get from South America to Australia at that. I just don't know. I know planes travel about 600 miles an hour. Um,
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly how many miles that is. I don't know the longitude and latitude of Australia and South America, but we know that it's possible to travel there in 14 hours. And I'll agree with that. If you're saying that you can do that, I'll agree with it. And I will still stick with my flat earth map. And I'll say that it could potentially be closer. It might not be directly all the way lined up, just that far away from it. I don't know, but I do believe that the Earth is flat.
Real quick, Ruslan, I think you restarted the time, brother.
It's all right. We'll just let it rock out. Yeah, I'm saying that yeah, a comparable flight would be from New York City to Moscow. Yeah, so what I'm saying is to you, Bryce, and I want you to go and dig deeper into this. I'm saying that this flight to be 14 hours from South America to Australia is impossible in that amount of it is there's no way you can pull that off on a flat earth map, because those places are in the complete opposite ends of a flat earth map, where on a sphere you can go underneath, and that's how it's only 14 hours.
Absolutely. That makes sense what you're saying.
Okay.
The number one explanation that I would have is that instead of South America being here and Australia being here, maybe it's in reality a little bit closer to the side like that.
So the flat
It's
earth
not-
map is wrong.
It's
Because
the
you're left of one of two conclusions. Either the flat earth map is wrong, or the flat earth map is wrong and the earth is a sphere.
Well, I think that there's also a lot of other flight patterns that would favor me, and I don't know exactly what they are because I don't really get into flight patterns. I don't know enough about aviation, but I just know that these people who fly planes use a flat Earth map. That's what I know, and that they don't calculate for any type of curvature. When the plane is flying, it gets to 30,000 feet. It stays at 30,000, and then it goes down.
But hold on, bro.
They never dip the nose to adjust for curvature.
One second. They do use a flat Earth map, but it's not your map, right? Like if I pull out my Google Maps, it's not going to be the same coordinates of your map. You do know that your map changes areas and directions, so they don't use a flat earth map. That is wrong. They don't use your map. The map that flat earthers use, they don't use that. That's fake news, bro.
Right. So I've got a question for you here, and it's not concerning the maps because that's not my specialty. Is flight patterns and maps. But I still think that those do favor my position. What I'm asking you is, if this is the sun, and it shoots out light at 360 degrees. Okay, so light all around it. It shoots it out equally. How much of the light from this ball here can hit the tip of this pin below it? Can 360 degrees of the light from this object hit this object?
I mean, there's a number of factors, right? Like distances, where it's moving, the time zone, and all that. So, that gets a little complex,
A small percentage of light from this object would hit the tip of this pin. But how come we see such a large percentage of the sun's light hitting the planet? We're seeing 179.9 degrees of the sun's light. That's almost half.
How does that prove that the Earth is flat, or if the Earth is round?
It absolutely proves it without a doubt, because you cannot.
So can you explain to me the moon phases then?
Yes, there's 13 of them. 13 of them make up a year, give or take like 2 days.
Wait. 13 what?
There's 13 moon phases, moon cycles.
And you believe that it's its own light source, right?
I know it's its own light source.
Okay, can you prove to me that it's its own light source?
Yes, you can take a thermometer and you can put it in the cold, and you can put another thermometer exposed to the moon, and the one exposed to the moon is colder than the one that's hidden in the shade, the
You
moon
do
shade.
know do you know that if the sun is hitting the moon, it's not going to be the same exact heat because the moon is reflecting the light of the sun. So if the sun hits the moon and the moon is hitting that light will be a different temperature because it's not going to be the exact same thing.
Right.
So
but
that doesn't prove your argument. Do
no,
you understand what I'm saying?
it-
Let me break
the
down my
light-
argument. Let me break down my argument for you. The moon is not its own light source. The sun, that is its own light source, hits the moon. The moon then hits the light that it's receiving from the sun. So if you grab a thermometer and the rays are different or the temperature is different, that's plausible because it's different. It's the sun is hitting the moon, and then therefore the moon is hitting it differently. It's not going to be the same thing as if the sun were hitting us directly. So the science experiment doesn't work. Do you understand my position at least? At least do you understand my position? We don't have to agree, but do you understand my position at least?
Yeah, I see. You're saying that because it's reflected,
Correct.
it would lose temperature from the original source.
Correct. No object in the universe is hotter or equal to its original source when reflected from something else.
Right, absolutely. It will get colder and colder. But what I'm telling you is it actually produces a coldness.
That's fine.
It makes things colder. It would still have residual heat, and it should still heat things other than what's around it. What else is around it is just the atmosphere. Okay?
Yeah, well,
and
if you
moonlight would still be a reflection of heat from the sun, and it would still, when shined upon something, it would still heat that object, not as much as the sun.
Okay, so then let me ask you this. Do stars are stars their own light source?
Yes.
Okay, then. So you believe that they generate heat?
I don't think we can detect heat from them, no.
Okay, so the reason is because positions, right? Things are positioned in a certain way. And what I'm telling you is that you can make the argument that you're making, but the way, since the moon is not plasma, and you said that the moon can be cheese for all we know, from what the moon is made from and what the sun is, when the sun hits the moon and the moon releases the light, it doesn't have to be hot. It can be different. Remember that my argument is that it reflects the light. It doesn't reflect the actual substance of the heat, just the light. And remember, the Bible says that the moon will not give its light. It doesn't say it won't give its heat. It won't give its cold. It's simply light. So even the Bible supports the idea that it's a reflector that produces light. Anything else, I don't know what to tell you.
Hey,
here's
go ahead,
what I
Bryce,
gotta-
and then I got a question for Bryce.
Yes, sir. And what I got to say is very obviously, JP, I can look at the moon and I can tell it's not sunlight. It's that simple. I can look at it with my own eyes. I'm a valid source of information, and I can deduce.
Bryce, but
Shiny
you
silver.
said that Bryce, you said that the moon could possibly be made out of
Warm yellow.
cheese.
The sun is warm yellow. When I
Yeah,
look at the moon,
because what the
and I
sun,
see it's still a bright silver.
yeah.
JP, I can look at the moon with my own eyes and deduce that it's not reflected sunlight just because of the intensity and the brightness of the
Okay,
light.
so let me ask you a question. Let me
Yeah.
ask you a question. That's okay. So let me ask you a question. Do all materials in the universe reflect light the same way that it does from its source? Are there materials that reflect light differently than a mirror? Because the moon is not a mirror.
Yeah, a chameleon can change colors, so things can change even. You
Okay,
know?
then. So what I'm saying is that argument doesn't work necessarily because the moon is first off, you said that it could be made out of cheese. You don't know what it's made of. But the material and the makeup of the moon can reflect it in such a way where it doesn't have to look like the sun because the moon is not a mirror. It's not a literal mirror where if you post a flashlight, it's going to hit you back with flashlight. It's a different material, and that material turns kind of yellow when hit by the sun.
Yeah.
Right. I agree. You could be right, but I still believe just by looking
No, I
at
hear
it.
you. As long as you hear my plausible explanation, we don't
It
gotta
is,
agree.
it is plausible. It is plausible.
No, that's all I'm saying. Just so you know that just so you know, I'm just giving you a logical explanation from our worldview. That's all. I'm not trying to convince you or nothing like that. I hear what
Yeah.
you're saying as well.
And Bryce, I just want to say I appreciate you saying that if you were put on a flight to space and you saw the Earth was a sphere, you would acknowledge that the Earth was a sphere. I appreciate you saying that you don't quite understand how the maps work and that the map may be inaccurate in the flat Earth. But I appreciate you being willing to give and take in some of this. Let me just show you one thing. Have you seen the movie Beyond the Curve?
I have not.
You have not. Okay. So let me see. Okay. So in Beyond the Curve, at the end of the movie, which I recommend all you guys go watch, they do this experiment where they take two different poles at 8 feet and they shoot a light across. And they in this is the flat earthers. At the end of the movie, there's multiple videos made about this, documentaries on Netflix. The flat earthers themselves discover that when they're shooting it across like this, that the Earth is a curve based on their own experiment. So this is an experiment done. This is basically what they do at the end of the movie, and he's standing at a certain height, and then the height gets lower. So this is something I think also very a good resource for those of you guys that are flat earthers. I think that documentary and the ending experiment that the flat earthers did with the respective they tried it with lasers first, and then they did it with a powerful light, and then the flat paths I think are the two strongest. Bryce, do you know much about photography?
I sure don't.
Okay. There's NASA just released the raw versions of the photos from raw photos are something that can't be faked. It's a specific type of photo where the camera is opening up and it's capturing as much information as it possibly can. Anyway, they just released the raw version of a bunch of photos going across the Earth and showing the curvature of the Earth. So there's that, but that's neither here nor there. If you don't understand photography, that's not really going to work. So
there's CGI,
you can't. Well, you can't computer generate raw photos. That's not how the file format works. But that's okay. Here, I'm going to give us another 10 minutes here. Actually, let's go to some super chats, and then we'll do a bit more chatting. Shout out to everybody who sent super chats. I appreciate you. Jill said, "You argue that you used to be an atheist and everything they said was false. Do you think the Earth is flat because atheists say it's round?" So that's a question from Jill for Bryce. So she's saying, hey, because you argue, you argue you used to be an atheist and everything they said was false, do you think the Earth is flat because atheists say the Earth is round? Is that one of the reasons why you came to that conclusion, Bryce?
Seeing that the Earth was flat and seeing that the sun and the moon are equal size and that the sun and the moon rotate the Earth, it made me realize how important the Earth was, and basically that the Earth was made for human habitation. When I realized that the Earth was made perfectly for human habitation and that we don't rotate in a big galaxy, the whole galaxy rotates around the Earth, I knew that there was a God. And then it took me a long time to come to Jesus after that.
Okay, so it wasn't that atheists think the Earth is round. That's why you think the Earth is flat. That wasn't your reasoning. I think that's all Joe was asking. Joe sent us another super chat. She said where is it at? Okay, she said, how does flat Earth theory explain differing night times, like noon in New York versus night in China? If the moon reflects sunlight, why do we have different phases instead of it being fully lit all the time? This is a good question. So yeah, how does the flat Earth model explain why the sun is out here in California, but where JP is right now, the sun is down in New York and on the East Coast? What is the flat Earth explanation for that?
So I have no clue as to why the moon has certain cycles, and each cycle takes exactly a month, and the 13 of those cycles equal a year. I have no clue how or what the moon is made out of and what makes it do that. Now, day and night is easy on a flat Earth map because the sun is on one side and the moon is on the other, and they're rotating. And every now and then they'll do like an eclipse type of thing, and when they do, that's why they cancel each other out perfectly. because they are the exact same size and they're the exact same distance from the Earth. And it changes up a little bit as they orbit and whatnot. But here's the thing is like, even if you want to think about seasons on a spherical Earth that's floating out in the middle of nowhere, and the sun, the only heat source is 94 million miles away. If the Earth rotates a little bit on its axis, that's not going to affect the amount of heat that's hitting it from 94 million miles away. What I'm telling you is in summer, when it gets so hot that you feel like you're going to pass out and dehydrate, I'm telling you, the sun is actually closer to you. The sun is closer to you in the summer. It just makes sense. And it has a tighter orbit around where you're at. Okay, but you're still going to have the optical illusion that the sun is rising because it's a big ball. And as it gets closer to you, it's going to look like it's coming up, but it's really coming from away. Okay, it doesn't actually rise up in the air. It's always up in the air. It's an optical illusion. But basically, that is my answer.
Okay. Tyler, thank you for the super chat. Just a little love to Bryce. He said, much respect to Bryce. He has top 10 fighters in the whole round / flat earth. Him as well as JP have humble and respectful. Yeah, I appreciate both of you guys being respectful in this conversation. Just sending charity. Go ahead.
Let me address that because there's some people saying that I'm arrogant and that I'm using debate tactics and things of that sort in the chat earlier. So I told Bryce beforehand that we were gonna, we were gonna do this stuff. So fellas in the chat, relax, stop crying. It's all love, all right? It's all love.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. Joshua, thank you for the super chat. He dropped a verse on us. This is Bound to Music for the super chat. He says, I'm open to either possession. Explain Joshua 10:12-13. Does anybody know that verse?
Yeah, I know the verse.
Joshua asked the Lord for the sun to stand still. Technically in the globe model, if the sun stops beaming through space, Earth can still orbit around it. Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
This is very simple, right? When God does miracles in the Bible, he doesn't share the complexities of those miracles. For example, when God split the sea in the Old Testament, God didn't give a scientific explanation for that miracle. What that was right there is a miracle. And so miracles don't have scientific explanations. Maybe they do, but not all the time. And no way possible was God going to write a whole pamphlet of explanations on how he stopped the sun. All we know is that he did it, the day was longer, and as a result, he was able to win the war, whatever, what have you, the case may have been, or the crops. I forgot the main story of that. But that's all. That's our position. It's very simple. It was a miracle. God didn't give the details on how he did it. And there's no scientific explanation on how God does miracles in the Bible. How did God take a snake, throw it down, or how did God take that stick and throw it down and it became a snake? We don't have scientific explanations. The staff, I should say. Yeah. Or when Moses poked the rock and it started squirting out water.
Right. The fact something that's a miracle is defies natural laws. Okay, let me move on. Harrison Family Values. He says, if someone in Detroit goes straight south and someone in Poland goes straight south, will they both end up in Antarctica?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. So if they both go straight south, they will both end up in Antarctica.
Yep.
Okay. All right, let me move on.
I mean, we won't know unless we do it, but it's illegal to do it. We can't try it.
Hey Bryce, if we were to get you on a trip to Antarctica and get you to go see Antarctica and figure out like a way to crowdsource that, would that change your mind?
I would go.
You would go to Antarctica.
Shoot, I'd want to be armed. I think they'd just take me out there and kill me, to be honest with you, Ruslan. Say a polar bear got me.
Hey, drop a 1 in the chat if you guys think we should do a fundraiser and get Bryce down to Antarctica. That would be interesting. I don't want to go to Antarctica, but I think for scientific reasons that might be interesting.
Look at all the people here in Antarctica. Hold on, let me see. Is it this way?
They have government permission, and you can't trust the people with government permission. And they also have a very limited. When the people do get permission from the government, it's insiders, and even the insiders have limited access. They don't have free reign over Antarctica. It's completely illegal.
I would like to see that document that says that it's illegal, but we already spoke about that because I don't know of any document that says you cannot go to Antarctica.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything. Somebody said something about
it
the
doesn't
North
exist, Ruslan.
Atlantic.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah,
But
I honestly I couldn't find anything about that treaty. Someone said the name of the treaty, and
Yeah,
there
yeah.
was
it doesn't
it was
exist.
the NATO treaty. So I was pretty I'm just being honest. I couldn't find it. Okay,
So
let me hit.
travelers do not need permission to go to Antarctica, but tourism operators must hold a valid permit. So it looks like at the very least you have to have a permit.
That's no problem. I need a permit
Okay.
to go to street preach in the park. That's not a problem.
But the thing is like when you go to get the permit, are you actually able to get it? Is anybody able to get it? I've been told that basically you can't get it, and that it's.
Well, there's a lot of that have gotten this permit, brother.
But
All right,
they
shout out
only have a
to
They only have a permit to go to certain locations. They can't just get turned loose. A permit is going to include specific areas which you can and cannot go.
I mean, I would have to see the permit that says you can't go to all areas. But you know what? As long as we know the treaty doesn't exist.
all right. Thank you for all the super chats. So it sounds like Bryce would be open to going to space if space was real, and seeing the Earth being a sphere. Listen. I really would love to follow in the spirit of Alex Jones and see if at some point we could make that happen. I think Bryce sounds like he would be willing to go to. Bryce, you would be willing to go to Antarctica, and if you had the ability to move around and see different parts, would that sway you?
If they let me do a full sweep of the ice wall, and I mean the full perimeter, and I got to map out my coordinates, and then I proved myself wrong with coordinates, then I would believe that I'm wrong. But it's illegal for me to even try this. That indicates that I'm correct. So I'd
It's
have to have
illegal
a
for
permit.
you to because you need a permit. You're saying it's illegal without a permit?
This is what I believe. I believe
Okay.
that if I've heard stories that people have tried to explore Antarctica for no other reason than exploration and have been put into prison and fined.
Okay. I mean, I don't see anything like that online. I'm just being honest with you. From everything I'm seeing, it seems like you can go. You won't need a visa, but you do need to get permission to set foot on the white continent. But don't worry, you're trusted polar. So it looks like there's
Remember,
expeditions.
the only treaty that exists is that no country can claim the land. So that's the only thing you're gonna find, that no country can claim the land. That's all.
But we can all agree you got to have a permit. So now you got to have permission.
Yeah,
I mean,
are you
could
okay?
you
Are you okay with getting a permit if we were to fundraise this for you, Bryce?
You bet. If you give me free reign, dude, I'll travel all Antarctica, every bit of it.
I'm trying to see how expensive it is. Bear with me.
But I want free reign. I don't want, hey, you can't leave this part of the ice wall. I want to see the whole ice wall, and I got to bring some rednecks with me because I know I'm going to get ambushed.
You
Oh
think
my
they're going to
God.
ambush you and kill you?
Brother, if you get in a rocket with Elon Musk to try to prove him wrong, he's going to blow the rocket up and kill you. I would never get in one of Elon Musk's rocket. I would never go on one of these explorations without buddies.
Would you go? Would you go with Alex Jones if Alex Jones was willing to get in a rocket with you?
I trust Alex Jones, but I wouldn't
Okay.
get in a rocket. I wouldn't get in a rocket. I'd go
Well,
to
okay, so
Antarctica.
wait, so you wouldn't go? You wouldn't go with Alex Jones in a rocket to see the Earth as a sphere? You would not do that. You changed your mind on that?
I've been cage fighting people since I was a kid, and that don't scare me. Okay, there's not a lot that scares me. But
Uh-huh.
I'm telling you, I'm not stupid enough to get in a rocket. I'll cage fight another dude for very small amounts of money, but I will not get in a rocket. I'm not that stupid. You get in a rocket, dude,
Okay.
it might blow up on you.
All right, I'm trying to find out the cost of a trip to Antarctica, so we can figure out how to get you down there, brother. Maybe
Hey,
we'll
let's
send
give
you.
me
Send you
free
in a
reign,
pal.
bro, because I'm bringing my bow and arrow, and I'm bringing some clothes. I'm traveling. I'm traveling the whole thing.
Okay, so going to chat. Let me know if we should do that. I'm so serious. If Bryce would want to go to Antarctica, I would not be opposed to figuring out a way to get Bryce and a buddy of his to Antarctica. The average Antarctica cruise cost is about $8,000 per person. The least expensive trips start under $5,000, and then you could do a voyage, which is kind of what he wants to do, for about $15,000. So, yeah, I mean, maybe we could figure something out. I think that would be
Here's the thing, I need about
advantageous.
4
Bryce
months
to Antarctica.
mapping the whole thing out.
You would
I
need
need
how
at
many
least
people?
4 months. I need at
Okay.
least 4 months. I got to start making my perimeter.
Okay. What if after you do your due diligence and your research on a flat Earth map, how long a flight would take from South America to Australia? I think that's a little bit cheaper, if I'm being honest with you. And you found out the hours, which is substantially longer than the regular flight path. Would you be willing to have us fly you and a buddy down to South America so you can fly to Australia in the time on a round Earth map? Would you be willing to take that adventure?
If you say that South America to Australia is 14 hours, I believe you. I'm not debating that, and I do believe that you're right. South America to Australia is 14 hours. But what I'm telling you is it's more likely that instead of them being exactly on opposite ends of the circle, they're
Uh-huh.
just a little bit closer, and that the maps that we're Googling are not specifically accurate with all longitude and latitude coordinates. It's more likely that we're actually pulling up a map that's a little bit off, and it's throwing off the whole distance and making me look like a fool because we're using an inaccurate map.
Okay.
But we're just
Yeah.
more likely that that's the case than it
Because
is
you're
that I'm
saying
wrong.
flat, the flat Earth map is there's no way for them to verify the map because they don't get the same resources as us
Yes.
globe earthers. Got
Yes,
it. Okay.
yes. We get suppressed and we have to dig and find every little bit of information we can. For example, here's an interesting thing I want to bring up. How do y'all think that craters got into the Earth? You think it's from asteroids and comets hitting the Earth?
Well, you don't believe that. You don't believe anything in space can go through the firmament, right?
Correct. And let me tell you how these craters got here. Craters are from the time of Noah, from the Great Flood. And they've lied and said that it's comets and asteroids and blah, blah, blah. That's all a bunch of satanic crap. Craters are the proof that the waters from underneath broke loose, just like the Bible said. And how do I know that craters are not asteroid impacts? Because all craters are symmetrical. Okay. And if debris from space comes in, they're not all going to hit at 90 degrees. Have you ever shot a bullet into the dirt? The impact of the angle is going to kick up dirt opposite of where you shot the bullet from. So unless if you're shooting straight down, you can't get a
Do
perfectly.
you believe dinosaurs are real?
Probably, but I think dragons were real too. You know, you ever seen that thing about Leviathan? I think there's probably some dragons or dinosaurs or something. But yes.
So what do you
I
think took out the dinosaurs?
Brother, I have no clue. But here's let's say this. I know that there were giants. I know that the Smithsonian
Okay,
takes
but wait.
giants.
Hold on.
We know that Goliath was some 15 foot tall. We all
Wait.
agree on that.
Hold on. So you believe that there could have been dinosaurs?
Yes.
You know that it's believed that it was the meteors that took the dinosaurs out.
Right, and I'm telling you, it would have been a flood instead, and that there's no evidence that an asteroid has made a crater. What those craters are, it's leftover geysers. In the time of Noah, the water came from underneath as well, not just rain. And when that water broke up from underneath, it formed a geyser hundreds of feet up in the air. It flooded the whole earth. And then, after, when those geysers are done releasing water,
Wait, hold on. Slow down. Brother, slow down. Hold on. So Noah's flood was a result of, what was it a result
of? God being mad at the world.
Okay. And so before that, what happened? Because you're losing me a little bit. So what happened before Noah's flood?
There could have been dinosaurs or something. I don't know. But I mean, I don't disbelieve in dinosaurs. I believe that some of the stuff is faked, but I believe that there could have been big creatures, especially before the flood.
Okay,
and
because
we know that there was giants. We all agree that there were people standing 20 foot tall, and the Smithsonian hides these artifacts, just like they hide the fact that craters are actually geysers. They're not from asteroids. Okay, a crater is a geyser, and it, like in Yellowstone, there's geysers. Okay, that are forming right now as we speak. There's a geyser shooting up in the air at Yellowstone. When that geyser recedes, a perfect crater will be left. It will be a symmetrical crater. So I'm telling you that craters are evidence that there was a flood and that the Bible is accurate. Craters are not evidence that an asteroid hit the Earth. That's a lie too.
All right. So can you show me where in the Bible this you're pulling this from?
Yes, so that'll be in the Great Flood story, maybe Genesis. I don't know.
No, I know that, but it's just I'm not getting the rest of what you're saying from the Bible.
Is that I'm saying that craters are not from asteroid and comet impacts. Craters are from the Great Flood, when those geysers
Right,
broke loose.
let me explain to you what I believe happened. Okay, so you said what you said. I believe that there were dinosaurs. Meteors came and they got them. Okay. Now it's a little bit complicated about what time period with Adam and Eve or how that all went down. That is a bit complicated, but I believe that it was the meteors that got them. Okay. Then obviously in time there were giants. You're correct there. There were giants. Then there was a flood. The flood happened, and there is proof that the flood happened, but I never heard of this meteor evidence that you're suggesting, right? There is proof that the flood happened, right? And ironically, atheists will tell you that there was proof that the flood happened.
Yes.
So, so I don't understand how this proves flat Earth.
Yeah, I think we all agree. We all agree on the flood. I don't want to benign that point. Give me let me just point to this, and this is why I believe it or not, I actually appreciate Bryce in this, even though some of the chat is being harsh in either direction. He said, I lost my best friend for over 36 years because he is a flat earther and cannot talk about anything but that. Oh, and I'm going to hell because I can't see Satan and how he is lying to anyone, the damage. So what I appreciate about this conversation, and maybe this was the point of it, is that neither of these gentlemen insulted either each other. No one insulted all globe earthers or all flat earthers. And I think that ultimately, like we this is not something we should be throwing away family members for. This is not something we should be throwing away friendships for. And oftentimes the vitriol that I hear in terms of hyper generalizing everyone who is a flat earther is stupid and an idiot and dumb, right? And hyper generalizing everyone that holds to a globe earth as satanic and deceived. I don't think that's helpful. And so I think, if anything, I appreciated that these gentlemen showed respect, that they did not attack each other personally, that they were cordial, that they, even though, there was a little bit of cutting each other off, I think overall that's good. And we shouldn't be falling out, regardless of where you fall. You shouldn't be losing friendships over this sort of stuff. Chris Lee, thank you for the double super chat. He said, invite Pastor Dean Oldion. I'll be honest, I don't know if we'll be inviting anybody else on. Bryce is a fan of the channel and is a UFC legend, so he kind of gets a little bit extra clout with me for that. Luke, thank you for the super chat. Hey, love you, Bryce. Love you, Ruslan. Really enjoyed the conversation. Any chance you get the one and only Theo Von on the pod to discuss current positions on Christianity? I will try. I've tried to reach out to him before, and I think I don't know. I don't know if we'll be able to do that. Chris P says, remember, this is not a salvation issue. And then 9-1 Zion says, my question is for JP. What is the firmament in a globe Earth? That's a good question. What is the firmament?
I would say that there's several theories, right? I would say that it's the core, right? The force field. It's like a bit of a force field, which is why people say that they don't believe that people went to the moon, because that force field you can't really break. So I would say it's like the force field that's over the Earth. That's pretty much what I would say. Whether you can break through or not, that's up for much debate. Obviously, NASA has its theories. I did not mention NASA or quote NASA one time in this conversation. I quoted Isaac Newton, and he was called the Satanist. So,
1666.
Yeah, so there you go. There you have it. So that's
okay.
mine.
Let's go to closing statements. You guys both get 5 minutes each to do your closing statements, and then we will wrap up unless there's some more super chats come in. Let me get this clock on the wall. We hit all the super chats, and Bryce, you want to go first?
I'd like JP to go first because.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, go ahead,
you just
JP.
want to pick me apart as soon as I finish, huh? That's your plan.
I want the last word.
Oh,
we'll let Bryce have the last word. He's been very polite.
That's fine.
All right,
that's fine.
Go ahead, Bryce. Go ahead, JP.
All right. Well, I had a great time having this conversation, Bryce. I love you Fun fact, me and Bryce were having conversations before this all throughout the weeks, and I said I was going to bring the heat. He's a good sport. My conclusion is that the earth is not flat. I think that my arguments with and I wrote them down here, but we'll break down some of the arguments I made. The moon not being its own light source. I think I held my own with that one. The pillars argument, I held my own with that one. And the earth is my footstool. We handle that one well. The sun rising, we handle that one well. The earth doesn't always mean earth. We handle that one well. So I pretty much did enjoy this conversation. I will have a after show after this, where I'll have more conversations with some of the folks that are watching that want to tear me apart. Bryce, if you want to come by, you can come by on the after show. And Ruslan, I know that you're a very busy man, but if you want to come as well, you can come as well. And that's pretty much it. That's not a shameless plug, by the way. I had to stand here for an hour and a half and two with this brother here who's very passionate. And I did enjoy this conversation. So if I came off as arrogant, prideful, using debate tactics or anything like that, which I saw in the chat, know that it wasn't coming from a bad place. And that's pretty much it. My YouTube channel is JP Uncut. It's tagged in the little title thing here. And I will be doing an after show where if you guys want to come talk to me or Bryce, if he shows up, you can.
Is that scheduled? Can you schedule it? I could redirect this stream.
Yeah, I can schedule it now.
Yeah, why don't you schedule it real quick? Even if it's just something generic, and that way we can redirect, and you guys can continue the conversation. Bryce, I'm going to start your clock whenever you're ready. Give me 1 sec.
Okay.
As JP schedules this, so that way we can redirect the stream. You guys can go check out.
Bryce 7 minutes. That'll give me more time. The remaining of my time, you know?
Yeah,
Bryce,
I'll share some closing thoughts too. Okay, go ahead, Bryce. It's on you, bus.
Hey, I love you too, JP. I love you too, Ruslan. And so first things I got to say is just we're all on the same team. It don't matter. But we are trying to decide exactly what is right because that truth will help us get more people to the truth. If we all agree on the same thing and can prove that one thing is right, we're going to convert. You know, we're not going to convert. Jesus Christ is going to convert, but we're going to get people to Jesus Christ that way by uniting. There's all sorts of little tricks that I have here to prove that the earth is flat. You know, I did the angles of the sunlight. There's a picture right here, like, you know, when the sun is setting over the sea and you see a nice beam of light on the sea, how that beam of light is going to be straight. You know, well, you can't see it on my phone very well, but see on that picture how the light reflects off the water and it forms a line of a reflection. You can't get that line on a curved object. The light just bounces straight off of the ball. So there's just everywhere you look, you see the evidence that the earth is flat. But it doesn't lead to your salvation. Only Jesus Christ leads to your salvation. So that's the main important thing that you take away from this. But there's a lot of people that if they understand that the earth is flat, it won't take them long to realize that the Bible describes the earth as flat, thus proving that the Bible is right and that Jesus Christ is king. He's the king in the Bible, and if the Bible's right, then he's the king. And so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get people back to Jesus. You know, there's all sorts of little tricks here that I could talk about. For example, guys, let me just discredit NASA real quick. Remember the picture from the surface of the moon with the earth in the background? Y'all remember that picture?
Mm-hmm.
How come the earth is a little tiny ball?
Because it's far away.
But how come? But apparently NASA says that the earth is 6 times bigger than the moon. And when we look at the moon, it's bigger than the picture of the earth from the moon. I'm telling you, it's clear that these photos are photoshopped. Also, in the picture of the moon, from the moon, there's no stars in the background. So you're looking at a picture of Earth that's not up to scale and the proportional size that it should be. There's not one star in the background, and y'all are going to believe that this is a picture that they took 240,000 miles away from us when they didn't even have the cell phone technology, the technology that we have in our cell phones today. They didn't even have that type of technology. Guys, it's all a lie. And it's important because when you're in a war, you need to know who is ready to die with you. And I will die with you guys. I will die with you guys. And these guys would kill you. And you need to know that I will die with you. And you need to know that they're trying to kill you. You need to know who the enemy is and who you can trust. And I'm telling you, you can trust me. You can't trust NASA. They lied about everything. They even killed Gus Grisham, their best astronaut. They'll kill anybody that disagrees with them. And you can't trust these people. Okay? And so we got to know who we can and can't trust. We can trust each other, even if we don't agree on the flat earth. But we can't trust these people perpetrating these lies. And that's NASA, Elon Musk. That's all. It's all of the devil. And that's all I got to say. And thank you, guys.
All right. Ruslan, I sent you the schedule.
Okay.
Thingy.
Let me make sure this is scheduled to redirect. Give me 1 second,
Bryce, I'll
guys.
send you the link. All right.
You got Bryce, are you gonna pop up over there, or are you done for the night?
I got to pee, and then I can get back on there for a little bit.
Oh, cool. I'll check some of that out later.
Want me to email it to you, or you want me to text it?
No,
Yeah,
I'm trying to find
Bryce.
your. Oh yeah. You hit Bryce. I can't.
I texted it to you. I texted you the StreamYard link, and I texted you the YouTube link.
Hey Zach. Yeah. Can you please set this after party to redirect? Here, I'm going.
I'll be right back.
On Bryce's thing. Yeah, I mean, no, sorry. It's on JP's channel. I just texted it to you. Okay, so chat, thank you so much for hanging out. Appreciate you guys. I think, shoot, I can't.
Let me tag you on the title.
Yeah, it's not coming up. You also may not have it shareable. Like your channel may not be allowing to redirect stuff, but we're trying to figure it out. Make sure you're subscribed to him from the Blessed God Studios channel.
Hold on, give me 1 second.
Is it coming up? Okay, where someone else just did a super chat. Let me hit this last super chat.
Yeah, let me tag you. Should I tag Blessed God Studios or Ruslan?
I think Zach is trying to figure it out. Shout out to Joseph Brooks. Always amazing content. Ruslan, keep up the great work, bringing in the word and love of Christ to the world. Appreciate you, Joseph. Thank you so much for the super chat. He hit me with the big 50 piece.
Bam, bam, bam.
Oh yeah, you don't allow anybody to redirect on your channel, JP. That's why.
Oh, how do I change that?
You got to go in your settings. I just pinned it up here, guys. So the link to the after party is pinned up right here. You guys see at the very top of the stream, there is David's pin right here. It's like deep in your settings, man. It's kind of complicated to explain, but you got to go in your settings and you got to allow you got to allow people to redirect to you, basically. Yeah, I think, listen, I appreciate both of these guys. I think this conversation is going to simply come down to etymology and how we come to different conclusions of not etymology, it's epistemology. Epistemology is how we come to different conclusions of what is truth and what are trustworthy sources of truth. And if you cite this source versus that source versus this, like that's where the conversation is. Who do you trust? What sources do you trust? Clearly, Bryce doesn't trust NASA, and I think that is the crux of the conversation: is who do you trust information from? Who do you not trust information from? That will decide. I tend to view that God is a big God. God is a good God. The earth is the Lord's. Everything in it is Psalm 24:1, and I believe that God is ultimately in control and sovereign and provident over all things. And so, therefore, I am open to trusting different scientists and institutions and so on and so forth. And clearly, Bryce is not, which is fine. But I appreciate the charitable conversation. I appreciate you guys making time for this. So everybody head on over to JP's channel right now. They're going to continue the conversation over there. I will not be there, but the link is pinned up right here in the chat. You can't miss the link. It's pinned up. We'll also pin it up in the pinned comments of this video as well. All right. So I'll see you guys over there. I'll be watching you guys.
Bryce, I sent you the link via email. All right, Bryce?
Hey, thanks, JP. Thanks, Ruslan.
I'll see you in a bit. See you. Oh, wait. Ruslan, let me say this real quick. David A., I love you. Thank you for being a great mod.
Thanks, David. All right, guys. We're out of here.
Hey, can I watch that on YouTube, Ruslan? Can I watch that
Yeah,
on your YouTube?
this will be on YouTube the whole time. So this is
Oh,
on the
I'm
Blessed God
about
Studio
to go
channel.
back and watch it. I'm watching it
Yeah,
tonight.
yep, you can watch it. All right, guys, we're out of here.
After the after party.
Yep.
All
All right,
right.
peace.
Look, sometimes people struggle with quiet time because you're like, I don't know what to do. Yeah, so I got this Bless God prayer journal. So look, they got a section. I got praise reports, things I'm grateful for, prayers for other people, personal prayers, memory verse, I will get this done today. Then my time in the Word showed me, and notes just for free thinking. This thing's mad helpful. Just writing down things that you're grateful for, just doing that consistently, that's another really good way to fight depression and anxiety, because it's I don't know if it's impossible, but it's really difficult to experience the feelings of depression and everything and truly be, you know, genuinely grateful for something and dwelling on something that you're grateful for. This actually is really helpful for that as well.
Wanna come around and do the most, flexing for the gram.
You see this day, they watch sunsets, no doubt. On a display in their hand, it stays out like a wrist chain. But this one is for clout. You got this stain, well, this chain gang's no slouch. I said dopamine, I need them to notice me every moment, just like Jodeci. Open me up, see the spark is emotionally draining and engaging at the same time. Being so manipulated by the AI, algorithms at play, so I stay high. Yo, they always listen in, but the true play is to make me my own God in a new way.
Ruslan